שלום לכל ישראליתים בהרבות כנפות של הארץ. הנה זקן אסף בנמי, קריספין לוי, מיישוב ישראלית של פרירה ברט. I would like to talk with you once more about the Torah, the eternal covenant that the Eternal gave to our fathers, to our forefathers, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yosef, and afterwards to us, Israelitim, Shel Ram, Shtain Eser Matot, Shel Israel, or 12 tribes of Israel. We're going to continue with our reading, our studies about the Torah. We stopped in the former lesson in the Iten number 61. And we're speaking yet about the sacrifice, the olot. And we stopped at the Iten number 61 and we'll go to the Iten number 62. All offering. Before that, I would like to give a verse why it's important to study the Torah. In Malachi, or Malak, Malachi, or Malak, verses 2-7. For the lips of a priest, Kohen, should guard knowledge, and they seek the Torah from his mouth, for he is the messenger of Yahweh of hosts. Then it's important that you hear the Torah from the lips of the Kohen, because he's the messenger of Yahweh. Well, in this item number 62, all offering must be salted. Vaikra, chapter 2, verse 13. Vaikra, chapter 2, Vaikra. Chapter 2, verse 13. And season with salt every offering of your grain offering, and do not allow the salt of the covenant of your Elohim to be lacking from your grain offering. With all your offerings you bring salt. And it's a commandment, it's a mitzvah, because in all offerings that you should offer to Yahweh, you must bring salt. To salt the things that you offer to Yahweh. For example, the bread of Shabbat, okay, and the other things that you offer in the Pesach and in the Hag Matzot, in the Shavuot, in the Yom Teruah, in Sukkot, you must put the salt, because it's a commandment. It's Yahweh's commandments. Okay, well, we're going to see this item in the oral law. In the oral law, okay. item number 62, Bereshit, chapter 19, verse 26. Bereshit 19. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a post of salt. And Lot's wife became a post of salt. Why? It was offered to sacrifice to Yahweh because of her disobedience. And all of us, we're going to be offered to the Eternal One. And the just one in the beginning of the 7th millennium. And the Reshaim, the bad ones, closing the 7th millennium and entering the 8th millennium. We're going to be offered as sacrifice to Yahweh. And as former in advance, Lot's wife was offered in sacrifice to Yahweh. He became a post of salt because her disobedience, because her heart was in the deletions, the prostitutions of Sodom and Gomorrah, like the majority of the women has been in these last days. Because we were in the Sodomas and Gomorrah's times, like Yahushua said, from the same way that was in the times of Sodom and Gomorrah and the Lot's time, it will be the Ben Adam, the Son of Man's coming. Okay, well. And we're going to see this item in the time of Yahushua, item 62. All offering must be salted, or to take salt in all sacrifice. Luke chapter 14, verse 34. Luke 14, 34. The salt is good, but if the salt becomes tasteless, with what shall it be seasoned? Then we must be the salt of the earth, because Yahushua said that we are the salt of this earth. We must be testimony, okay, to give before the man, principally keeping the eternal covenant, the commandments of the Torah. Well, Yahushua speaks about the use of the salt, the importance of the use of the salt. And the salt was used in all sacrifice to be accepted before Yahweh, the Eternal One. Well, let's go to the item number 63. The law of the burnt offering. The law of the burnt offering. Vaikra 1, chapter 1, verse 2 17. Vaikra. Levíticos. Vaikra. Chapter 1, verse 2:17. Speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when any one of you brings an offering to Yahweh, you bring your offering of the livestock, of the herd, or of the flock. If his offering is a burnt offering of the herd, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Let him bring each at the door of the tent of meeting for his acceptance before Yahweh. And he shall lay his hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him. And he shall slaughter the bull before Yahweh. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood all around on the altar, which is at the door, at the tent of meeting. And he shall skin the burnt offering, and cut it into its piece. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall put fire on the altar and lay the wood in order on the fire. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall arrange the piece with the head and the fat on the wood which is on the fire on the altar. But at its entrails and its legs he washes with water, and the priest shall burn all of it on the altar as a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And if his offering is from the flock, from the sheep, or from the goats as a burnt offering, let him bring a male, a perfect one. And he shall slaughter it on the north side of the altar before Yahweh. And the sons of Aaron the priest shall sprinkle its blood on the altar all around. And he shall cut it into its piece, with its head and its fat, and the priest shall arrange it then on the wood which is on the fire on the altar. But the entrails and the legs he washes with water, and the priest shall bring it all and burn it on the altar. It's a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. And if the burnt offering of his offering to Yahweh is of birds, then he shall bring his offerings of turtle doves or young pigeons. And the priest shall bring it to the altar, and shall wring off its head, and burn it on the altar, and its blood shall be drained out at the side of the altar. And he shall remove its crop with its feathers, and drown it beside the altar on the east side into the place for ashes. And he shall split it at its wings, but not sever it. And the priest shall burn it on the altar, and on the wood that is on the fire, it is a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. Well, summing it up, and when the man offered a goat or a cow, okay, to Yahweh, okay, first he presented this animal to the Kohen, okay? And he shall lay his hand on the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted on his behalf to make atonement for him. And first he puts his hands upon its head of the animal, okay, and he shall slaughter the bull before Yahweh, and afterwards the Kohanim, okay, and the sons of Aaron, the priests, shall bring the blood. The Kohanim got the blood and sprinkle the blood all around on the altar, which is at the door at tent of meeting. Remember that there was an altar in front of the congregation, okay, and the other, okay, in the place called Kodesh, and the third altar, okay, behind the veil that the Kohen entered each just once upon a year in the time of Yom Kippur. Okay, well, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall bring the blood and sprinkle the blood all around on the altar which is at the door of the tent of meeting. Okay, and he shall skin the burnt offering and cut it into its piece. Then the man cut, okay, take the skin, okay, of the animal, okay, and the sons of Aaron, the priest, shall put fire on the altar and lay the wood in order of the fire. It's very important because in the altar, the priests, they separated the entrails, liver, and heart, and vesicle, okay, triples, separated from one side, and the other part was of the good meat. For example, the thigh and the calves were from a heritage to the Kohen, forever to the Kohen. Okay, and there was this separation on the altar, and these parts of the entrails were burned. This was the burnt sacrifice, and it was the first that got up to the Eternal One. Okay, but its entrail and its legs he washes with water, and the priest shall burn all of it on the altar as a burnt offering, and offerings made by fire, a sweet fragrance to Yahweh. This was the first part of Yahweh. Okay, and the man didn't eat it because in Torah it's forbidden to us to eat liver, to eat vesicle, to eat heart, triples. Okay. And if his offering is from the flock, from the sheep or from the goat as a burnt offering, let him bring a male, a perfect one. Okay. But the entrails and the legs he washed with water, and the priest shall bring it all and burn it on the altar. It's a burnt offering, an offering made by fire to Yahweh. Okay. Well, let's see it in the oral law. Okay. Item number 63. Okay, Bereshit 8:20. Bereshit 8:20. And Noah built an altar to Yahweh, and took of every clean beast, and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. Noah, in the oral law, Noah already been these burnt offerings to Yahweh. Okay, because Yahweh's laws are perfect, and it was the beginning until the end, like David says. Okay, oh Yahweh, your Torah is from the Bereshit, the beginning. Since the beginning, your law is the true, is the emet. Well, let's see in the Yahushua's time and his Talmud, this item number 63. The Holocaust, the law of burnt offering. Ibrim 9, chapter 9, Ibrim. Ibrim. Ibrim chapter 9, verses 19 to 24. For when, according to Torah, every command had been spoken by Moshe to all the people, he took the blood of calves and goats with water and the scarlet wool and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book itself and all the people, saying, "This is the blood of the covenant which Elohim commanded you." And in the same way he sprinkled with blood both the tent and all the vessels of the service. And according to the Torah, almost all is cleansed with blood, and without shedding of blood there is no forgiveness. It was necessary then that the copies of the heavenly ones should be cleansed with this, but the heavenly ones themselves with better slaughter offerings than these. For Messiah has not entered in the set apart place made by hand, figures of the true, but into the heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of Elohim on our behalf. And you can see that the Torah was cleansed with the dam. Okay, and Moshe, he took the blood of calves and goes with water and the scarlet wool and the hyssop and sprinkled both the book itself and all the people. He sprinkled all the Torah and all the people itself to purify them, because without blooding of them, it's impossible to keeper or keporah, to clean the sins. Then the Torah was sealed with blood, and Yahushua sealed his testimony, and Yahushua is seated, okay, before the Yah Spirit, and he make the Keporah for us. Yahweh Baruch Atah ורמשפחה גם, אני מקווה שיהוה יוכל, הוא העולם לחזקים אותך ולמשפחה גם. שאתה תוכל לחוזר למצוות של תורה. תודה רבה. נתראה ביום חמישי. תודה.